In this podcast, I want to talk a little more about the home inspection process. I've written a lot about home inspections. I've done some videos and audios on home inspections, but this continues to be one of the most important due diligence steps that you can take when you buy a home. And the home inspection process from beginning to end, all the way through the report and the analysis of the report and the request for repairs, it takes up a lot of my time and conversations with my clients. So here's just a few more thoughts for you on the process. If you're planning on buying a home in the Sequim area, or any area for that matter, a home inspection is done by an independent home inspector, and they're very good at what they do. So once the home inspection is done, we get a fairly detailed report, sometimes 20 plus pages long, with photographs. And they do a very extensive job. They crawl through the crawl space with a flashlight and a digital camera. They crawl through the attic. They go on top of the roof and check the roof condition, whether it's composition shingles or clay or something else. They do a very thorough analysis inside the house. Now, here's the point that I want to get to in this podcast, is that they inevitably will have some items in the home inspection report that are not perfect. When you're buying an existing home, you're not buying a brand new home. So there are going to be some things that could be either replaced or repaired in order to get those things like brand new. But a seller isn't necessarily going to have everything in a brand new condition. Now, couple of specifics that come up all the time. One is the condition of the roof. Sometimes a roof needs cleaning, but the composition shingles are still good. They still have many, many years left in them. You don't want to beat up on a seller over the roof cleaning. In other words, if it's just a matter of having the roof cleaned, that's not necessarily a time to pick a big argument with the seller and renegotiating the whole transaction. There's this old cliche says minor in the minors and major in the majors. So this is still a good idea. With respect to things like the gutters, no homeowner cleans his gutters before he lists his home. I mean, who would even think of that, right? Well, the home inspector inspects the gutters. He's going to inevitably find that they probably could be or should be cleaned. Now, as long as they're not plugged up and the spouts aren't plugged up, and there's nothing really major wrong with the gutters, then probably not a good idea to get into a big argument with the seller over whether or not he should have them cleaned. It's a minor issue, right? Now, HVAC systems, the heating system, the electric forced air furnace, and a heat pump, if that's the heating system and cooling system the house has. Not everybody here gets an annual inspection of their HVAC system. I know if you're living in Los Angeles or in some metropolitan area, many times you'll have an annual inspection done on your furnace or your heating and cooling system. And that's especially important if you live in an area like Phoenix or Las Vegas or Southern California, where your air conditioning unit is running all the time. That probably does need an annual inspection. But if you're in an area like Sequim, Washington, where this is a very mild climate, we don't have extreme temperatures, either cold or hot. So here, most of us don't bother to have our HVAC systems inspected every single year. A lot of people don't need anything repaired on their heating system for 10 to 15 years. So they simply save the money by not having it done every year. Now, if you're a buyer and you're used to having that done every year, and you find out that the home inspector says there's no maintenance tag on the furnace indicating an annual inspection last year, there's nothing wrong with asking the seller to have that inspection done, just in case there's anything seriously wrong. But just want you to know, don't be surprised. We don't typically have annual inspections done here. You certainly can. Some people do, but probably only 5% of the population does. There are other items that might need repair, but again, I want to encourage you to think reasonably from the seller's perspective. Minor in the minors, major in the majors. If there's nothing seriously wrong with something, don't try and renegotiate or get the seller to repair, fix that. Again, unless it really does need it. If there's standing water in the crawl space, okay, that could be serious. That would be serious. That needs to be addressed. And if you can't address it properly, you're going to have to terminate the transaction. If there's mold in the attic or in the house somewhere, that's serious. That needs to be addressed. And if it can't be fixed easily or the seller's not willing to fix it, it may be time to terminate that transaction. But again, the whole idea is that the seller will pay for some reasonable minor repairs, but you also have to consider that the seller is in the process of a huge transition themselves, moving. They're selling this house, they're moving to a new community, probably buying another house, and all of that transitions that are involved in that process, they're dealing with a lot of stress too, so you don't want to dump a lot of little things on their plate just in the middle of the transitions they are currently in. Okay, so just some tips again about the home inspection. I hope you find these beneficial. My name is Chuck Marundi, and you'll find me at squimrealestateblog.com.